Hello everybody. Oh God, I spit water on my top, look. And it is water. Hello everybody and welcome to That's Football. I'm Mark Goldbridge and we are live for Leicester against Spurs to complete the Premier League weekend. I hope you're all doing well. I'm never not live for the start of the game. And sorry, I think we put 7:45, but I was on the United stand. That stain's getting bigger. But I'm sure it will dry. Right, loads to get involved. Thanks everybody who tuned in at lunchtime for our new live Premier League show, by the way. Really enjoyed that. Some really good debate points as well. Lovely to see everybody paying tribute to Craig Shakespeare as well, former Leicester coach, who sadly passed away quite recently. Yeah, there is a standing of applause in the pouring rain at Leicester tonight. We are sponsored by Manscaped, by the way. Trim the grass to make the yard look bigger. We'll be talking about that in a moment. Don't you worry about that. But team news, we're about to start, but team news is going to be very interesting. Leicester, for me, are a team that's going straight back down. But maybe one of these Ipswich, Southampton or Leicester sides can produce a shock this weekend. Southampton probably should have got something at Newcastle against 10 men and having all that possession. Can Leicester get something at home where Ipswich failed against Liverpool? So Leicester lining up with Hermansen, Christiansen, Vestergaard, Vase, Justin, Winks and Didi, Cordiva Reed, Buonate, Fatawa and Jamie Vardy in the Premier League at 92. Spurs, Vicario, Udogie, Van der Ven, Romero, Porro. Good back five that. And then Bentancur, Sarr, Maddison, Son, Solanke and Brennan Johnson. I mean, I don't know about that midfield, if I'm being honest, for Spurs. I was looking at that just before we went live and... I don't know. I think for me, their best midfield is Sarr, Basuma and Maddison. But Basuma's been in a lot of trouble, hasn't he? Probably not even on the bench. Something about some laughing gas. Well, it's not a funny matter. He is not on the bench for Spurs. They've got Austin, Bergvall, Davies, Spence, Dragerson, Gray, Kulusevski, Werner and Richarlison. With Leicester having Ricardo Pereira, Cannon, Chowdhury, Mavadidi, McAteer, Nelson, Ockley, Samari and Ward. It's funny with some of these Leicester players, isn't it? Because we know a lot of these players. They just didn't play in the Premier League last year, and we remember them as I remember Samari on the bench for Leicester. You know, the season before last, he's going to be the next big thing. And Chowdhury, Ricardo Pereira still playing at Leicester. Vardy, as we've mentioned, and Didi, Justin, Faze. I mean, a lot of these players we do know from the season before last that are still at that club. Sander Burge to Fulham, here we go. Great for them, says Paul Downey. I'm ecstatic, mate. I couldn't be more grateful to Fulham for taking Sander Burge off the table for Manchester United. I do not want him. I think he's found his level there. Let's hope it's not 3 relegations in a row. The sad thing is that they won't be buying McTominay, but hopefully Napoli can still do that. But yeah, I'm not disappointed at all. Football is really back, says Rub. Sander Burge to Fulham, here we go. Romano's confirmed it, says Aaron. And hypothetically, would you swap Rashford with Son? Yeah. I mean, hypothetically, Son is a better player than Rashford. The age thing is interesting, but I mean, come on. It's like saying, would you not swap Rashford with Salah? The better player is Salah, isn't it? But, I mean, in a real world, it will never, ever, ever happen. So let's live in a fantasy world where it's just who's the better player. Of course, Son's better than Rashford. It's bloody obvious. I mean, I think the crime with Son is that he could probably play for Real Madrid. It's the Spurs gain, but he could play at a much higher level. Hi Mark, what are your thoughts on Gary Neville saying on his podcast that the refs were good this weekend? Well, he's a prat, Keenan, isn't he? But I've told you before, when I was on TalkSport, I was on an email chain where every couple of weeks people were invited to be on a meeting with the TV broadcasters and the PJMOL. So this goes on every 2 weeks, and they've all got sponsors and brands to please. They're all on the same gravy chain, mate. They're not having those meetings saying that was disgraceful at the weekend. It's all about how do we appease fans? How do we keep fans quiet by sticking together? And Neville's on that gravy chain, isn't he? I mean, Neville called Forest out last season because they said that the Everton refereeing was a disgrace. So They're all on the same payroll at the end of the day. I don't know why people are surprised. But to say that refereeing was good this weekend is an absolute joke. I mean, check out the podcast at lunchtime. I mean, the Matty Cash penalty was a disgrace. The Eze goal not being given was, outrageous, bordering on criminal. And I thought that Shah getting a 3-match ban for Brereton Diaz having an audition for Hollyoaks is just disgusting. But there you go. They're towing the line, Jan. They are. Two things. Hey, Gary Neville will be joining NBC as a pundit. You know what NBC should do? Get me on. Inadvertently, get me on. That would be that. American TV would take over the world. Two things. You and Will didn't discuss the Guehi tackle. Should have been a red. Casemiro would have got it. And Burge to Fulham means United lose negotiating power with Napoli. They do, Jose. They do. You're right. The Guehi tackle, I didn't see. I saw the hands on the neck of Havertz, and technically that should have been a red as well. But good questions coming in. Thank you, everybody. Spurs dominating the possession here. No surprise there. Leicester, obviously, now managed by Cooper and Steve Cooper. So they'll be organised defensively. They'll look to break. I mean, look at this for a deep line. I tell you what, the Leicester defensive line is so deep, they're sat in row Z behind the goal. This is deep, compact football, and it might not be pretty. We need a Spurs goal here. I've got Solanke in my FPL. He's my only hope. Mark, any news on Obi Martin? Here we go by Fabrizio weeks ago, but nothing since. We've just got a sort of compensation fee out with Arsenal, which will take a bit of time, but he will be a Man United player. Sarah Paget, thanks for joining the Members Club. You can be a member here. Make sure you click the Members Club and join, get your badge in. Love that. Thank you very much, Sarah. Thank you very much for joining. What? Good tackle by Maddison against his former club, of course. Now it's Son. He's in the box. There's loads of players around. He's going to have to pass that, surely. Loads of Leicester players in and around the box, and Son ends up winning a corner out of it. Good one, Son. Good play there. What are your thoughts about João Felix going back to Chelsea, says Dougie? Well, let's run a poll on that. Is Felix back to Chelsea a good transfer? Look, I got a lot of Chelsea fans in the comments yesterday in my match reaction. And look, what a clearance. I thought that was going to be a goal. I don't know who's kept it out. It's a front post flick. And it's another great save on the volley. I think that was Brennan Johnson. But corner for Spurs there. One of them front post flicks that's going right in on the back post. And somebody has acrobatically got it out. Give him an Olympic medal. Someone call Paris. Is it too late? Because that was acrobatical. Yeah, that was a good chat. We'll talk about João Felix in a minute. There's a bit of a poll to go as well. But I don't know what the fee is for João Felix, if anyone knows what that is. But yeah, I mean, just talking about João, we've not seen the replay yet. Talking about João Felix to Chelsea. There's two things I would say about that. One, they've had him before. So does it ever work out when you go back? Very, 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 very rarely. And two, it's all Spurs here. Do they need another attacking option? Because he ain't a goal scorer. Oh, it's good defending that. That's going in. That's Bentancur on the front post, flicking it to the back post. Here it is. Oh, it's great defending. I think it's Ndidi on the back. I mean, he does really well because Solanke's actually in front of him. Lovely defending. But it's all Spurs here at the moment. And it's a free header on the back post, is that? Solanke, you prat! He's in my bloody FPL. He's just missed a header from 6 yards out. Oh, mate. I agree with Zetti. João Felix is not going to solve your goal-scoring problem. I mean, my reaction to the Chelsea game yesterday, I'm not even a Chelsea fan. It was pure frustration of just how frustrating Chelsea are. Now, I get Chelsea fans sticking up for them and going, it's our first game under a new manager, you don't know ball, this, that and the other. But sorry, last time I checked, it's about opinion. And my opinion was that first 45 minutes from Chelsea was lacklustre and shambolic. Both the goals were horrific goals to concede at home in the first game of the season. Your concentration levels were a joke. The second goal was crap keeping. The first goal was crap defending. Jackson being offside for that Palmer, that was a goal. Bad concentration. So I'm sorry, my opinion hasn't changed. I think Chelsea's attitude going into that game yesterday was not of the level that Chelsea fans deserve. Your defending should have been better on both goals, and Jackson should never be offside. And you turned what should have been a draw at best, at worst, into a loss. Harsh, but that's what I think. I will also say, I do not think that João Felix is the solution to your problem. João Felix, on his day, is a very, very good creative player. But João Felix is not going to score you 20 Premier League goals. And until Chelsea figure that out, you can buy as many attacking midfielders as you like. But when are you actually going to buy that world-class striker that everybody knows you need? Everybody knows it. Stephen Ross says, given Chelsea's performance against City, do you think a striker will be enough? I think that's what they need, mate. Chelsea very rarely get beat 3 or 4-0. And Chelsea very rarely don't create chances. So with an Ivan Toney or a Osimhen up front, they'll get 20 goals from a striker, and that'll give them more points. I guarantee you Chelsea will be top 4 if they get Osimhen. I guarantee you Chelsea will be top 4 if they got Ivan Toney. If they don't get that type of a striker this summer, I won't guarantee top 4 for Chelsea. So that's the simplest way to look at it. Chelsea will be in the top 4 if they get Osimhen or Ivan Toney. If they don't, they probably won't. End of conversation. It's really that football's not that hard. It's not. And Chelsea fans might get offended, and some people might disagree with me. That's absolutely fine. But I find Chelsea massively frustrating because they've got so much talent, but they haven't got the most important thing. You know, it's like building a Ferrari with the best wheels, the best engine, the best spoiler, the best paintwork, and then not putting a steering wheel on it. It won't work. And the steering wheel, another front post flick there by Spurs. Goes out for a goal kick this time. Oh no, it's gone for a corner. Spurs all over Leicester at the moment. Absolutely dominating them. Absolutely dominating them here. Another corner coming in. Look at these. Would you look at these stats? 31% to 69%. No shots on target. I don't think Leicester have even been in the Spurs half yet. And just wide again. I tell you what, Solanke could get some goals here. Romero just heads it wide. Cutie Corbin is coming in. We're sponsored by Manscaped on the show. I will get the gear out in a moment, but if you don't know what Manscaped is, it's precision engineering for your family jewels, but they've got the complete range of male grooming. You've got the lawnmower for down there, trim the grass to make the yard look bigger. You've got the weed whacker for up your nose. You've got the hedge trimmer for your face. All fantastic products delivered to your door, 20% off and free worldwide shipping with the code FOOTY. I'll show you some of what they've got in a moment, but don't forget we're sponsored by Manscaped. Fantastic products. 20% off with the code FOOTY and free delivery wherever you are in the world. Scrooge says, what's that stain on your shirt, Mark? Well, the problem with wearing this sort of colour is that if you spill your water, it can end up there. I mean, I could pretend it's a very faint Ralph Lauren thing, because if I move around a bit, it looks a bit like it, but it's on the wrong boob. Here we go. Son's in again. He's going to get it into Maddison. Oh, I tell you what. How many are we going to go for here? This could be 3 or 4. They're all over him here. I don't know whether this is just great from Spurs or rubbish from Leicester, but it's Spurs annihilation here. Could be 9-0. Just realised I haven't tweeted it out either. Who's your favourite NBA player and team? Don't watch it, mate. Michael Jordan and Chicago Bulls, just because I really enjoyed The Last Dance. But I don't watch it. I like NFL, but I don't get to watch that as much as I'd like to. I'm hoping to get to one of the games, actually, in London. Gurr has got Spurs on a -2. You might be onto something there. So basically a -2 means they'll win with a -2 goals off, so they'll win by 3. Another set piece. They've been very good from Spurs so far. I think they've won every... I mean, Leicester are struggling here. That's a crap cross by Maddison, though. McTominay with concrete plans to stay. Here we land, says Jose. And Rub says Felix, Maresca, Bowley all can jog off from Chelsea. You've destroyed my club from inside out. No clue on how to run a club, says Rub. Well, just buy a... I mean, I do know a couple of Chelsea fans, and to be honest, I don't think I misread the room with my video yesterday. They're not happy with what's going on. There is so much to be frustrated with Chelsea in the way that, you know, some of the decisions that have been made. But one of their biggest frustrations is the same one that we have as observers, that they don't have and haven't spent on a top-class striker. I mean, there are Chelsea fans that not like Nicholas. They do like Nicholas Jackson, but he ain't elite. He's not elite. Nicholas Jackson would not start for any of the top 6 from last season. Didn't Chelsea come 6th? Ow. Ow. It hurts. It hurts when I get it wrong. I am human. I'm only human after all. Don't put your blame on me. Don't put your blame on me. All right. He wouldn't start for... he wouldn't start for anyone in the top 5 last year. Jun says he'd start for Arsenal. Mate, you're having a bloody laugh. He wouldn't start for City. He wouldn't even get on their bench. He wouldn't start for Arsenal. He wouldn't start for Villa. And he wouldn't start for Liverpool. And he wouldn't start for Spurs. Leicester on a rare attack, but they've messed that up. Is Slot going to find the same issue as Ten Hag and Arteta when he first came to Arsenal, says 58. No, because he's inheriting a very, very good team. I mean, look, I think Slot's a good coach and I think Liverpool will do well, and you can only deal with the circumstances you inherit, but he's inheriting a far, far easier situation than Arteta and Ten Hag. Ten Hag inherited the worst ever Manchester United Premier League side, and Arteta inherited one of the worst ever Arsenal Premier League sides, whereas Klopp is inheriting a team that I think Klopp would have competed with the title for this year. So, I mean, the biggest issue that Slot's got is that he's taken over from a Liverpool legend, but there's a lot of components in place for him to do well. I think he will do well. I think Liverpool will do well. I'm not looking forward to the game at Old Trafford, actually, because I think Liverpool look like a team already, whereas United have still got a bit of work to do. Ashley Mayhew says Sander Burge to Fulham over McTominay. Yeah, but Fulham offered 20 million for Man United for McTominay, and Man United said no. They've gone to Burnley and got the deal done for 20 million. So you can't blame Fulham. I don't think Sander Burge is a very good signing. I didn't want him at United, and I don't think he'll be that good at Fulham. But it's their right to do what they want. Is that another corner? Yeah. I mean, Leicester must have had about 1 million corners here. Colin says, your comment about Kovacic hailing an effing taxi on your show with Will was hilarious. Rushing home to catch the match. That split opinion, that did. We could do a poll on that in a minute. But I think it was a penalty. I think his hand's in an unnatural position. Some people seem to think it's a natural position to go like that on a cross. Hi, Mum. If Osman gets Chelsea top 4, who gets United top 4, says Ben. Agate. We just need a midfielder. Son, he should have hit it first time. Why did he not hit that first time? Goes for another corner. So the poll was, Is João Felix going back to Chelsea a good transfer? 40% say yes, 60% say no. I just think if you're a Chelsea fan, you want an out-and-out striker. You don't want another creative. I mean, where's João Felix going to play as well? You've already got Madueke, Neto, Mudryk, Palmer, Nkunku. I mean, how many more creatives have you got? Lovely play by Son. Crap cross. Rub says, I mean, look, when you look at Chelsea's squad, there's about 40 of them. Would you look at that Chelsea squad and go, you know what we really need? We really need another number 10. That's what we need. We need another creative attacker. That's what we really need. But Todd, we've got no out-and-out prolific goal scorer. Yeah, that's not what you need in football. Trust me. I know what I'm talking about. Matthew says, I loved Felix when he came to us on loan, but my God, where is he going to play? We have too many players for one position. The only signing I want to see after this is Osman. I agree, Matthew. Absolutely spot on. Do you think United will get Agate now McTominay won't leave, says Tom? Has McTominay said he won't leave? Maddison, lovely play. Solanke, that's a penalty, ref. Oh, just give the penalty. Son wouldn't take it anyway. Nicholas says, I love what Chelsea are doing. Once just not you or the media are going to eat their words, I'm sure top four is going to happen. Well, Nicholas, I mean, you're acting like you're about to produce a miracle. You've spent £1.5 billion in the last 18 months and you're acting like top four is going to be like Leicester winning the league. You should get top four, mate. You're massively, massively underachieving. Don't fall into the trap that if you get fourth place, you've had an amazing season. Like, you're massively underachieving. And yet some people are making out like it's okay. I tell you now, and I think every Chelsea fan would agree, in their own opinion, you'd all say the same. I genuinely think I could run that club better. And I don't have the experience or anything like that, but I could run that club better because I would not have spent the money where they've spent it. I'd have gone out and got them the thing that wins games. And I got 2. You haven't even got 1. And for the money you've spent, you could have got 2. You could have got 3. For all the £100 million players you've bought, not one of them is the guy who puts the ball in the back of the net. And your goalkeeper's not good enough either. Kokak says, how arrogant. It's not arrogant, mate. I think any of you could do it as well because you know what you're talking about. The stupidity of not buying a top-class striker when you've spent over £1 billion is incredible to me. Absolutely incredible. What goalkeeper would you buy? I mean, God, there's so many goalkeepers Chelsea could have bought. You're telling me they couldn't have got Maignan, who plays for France? I mean, there's just so many goalkeepers you could go and get. Blues Enthusiast says, what are your thoughts on certain pundits sticking up for Sterling? He's been rubbish for the past 18 months and I think it's completely justifiable. Well, it's mates rates, isn't it, mate? I mean, unfortunately, that's what the media's been like for a long time. And when we had it at Manchester United, you had certain ex-players absolutely going in on Mourinho, and we've seen it with Ten Hag. But with Solskjaer, they literally sat there on live TV and said, I won't do it because I've played with him and he's a mate. And I used to be despairing, going, hold on a minute. We all pay a lot of money for these broadcasters who pay a lot of money to these ex-players. We're more than happy to slag people off when it suits them. But if it's one of their mates, oh, no, I'm not going to do that. We'll get people on who are actually level-headed then, because that's exactly what I think is what's happening with Sterling. Sterling's been the victim of some pretty borderline, if not racial profiling articles, 100%. You know, if you think about some of the stupid articles he's had written about him that must be very, very hard to swallow, where it's like, you know, footballer buys another big car or something like that. It's disgusting. That type of reporting is a disgrace. But that doesn't mean that he's right to do what he's done here. I mean, that statement never should have gone out. And they're saying, well, we didn't put a statement out. We gave it to a journalist. Well, what do you think happens when you give a statement to a journalist? You may as well put it out on a tweet. That goes out just before a Chelsea game. And all that's happened is The manager has decided not to put Raheem Sterling on the bench. The last time I checked, it wasn't Sir Raheem Sterling. It was Raheem Sterling, Chelsea footballer. And the last time I checked, you can be dropped, you can be benched, you can be left out. That's all that's happened. And as for this bollocks that, he was told that he was part of the plans. I'll tell you a story, right? 14-year-old Bridge, I'm a school team regular, and we've got a bloody good school team, and we're doing really well. Work experience at Grantham Town at 14. Big cup game on Saturday morning for the school. I'm a regular playing at centre back, right? Friendly on Thursday night. I'm getting a bit edgy. I'm going, I don't want to miss that game in case some miracle happens and someone plays well in my place. So I get in contact with I speak to the school manager, and I say, I am doing work experience in Grantham, but I can leave early to come back and play the friendly. So, don't worry about that. You'll be playing on Saturday anyway. You don't need to come. All right, I'll be fine. Saturday morning, I'm on the bloody bench. I didn't put a statement out on Twitter. My camp didn't come out in my defence at all. I sat on the bench. We played absolutely rubbish. I was on at half time, and I won my place back. Kept my mouth shut and was professional. That's what you should do. I'm sure we've all been in that situation. He who laughs last laughs the loudest. He who moans like a bitch looks like a bitch. Hi, Mark. The ref looks like Omar Barada. Does he? I'll have to have a look at that, Salvi. I just think you know how Man United are not getting top four now, says Nicholas. I know what you're trying to do. And if you want me to do it, well, I don't actually want to do it because I don't actually I don't want this to turn into Goldbridge against Chelsea because that's not what I was saying yesterday. I was just very disappointed with you. But if you want me to say I think Man United will finish against Chelsea, I already have in my Premier League predictions. Leicester on the break. Good tackle. What a tackle that is by Brennan Johnson. I thought it was Porro. It was a right-back's tackle, but it was very, very good. And he falls over. What a prat. What a prat. Nelly says Chelsea will batter United twice this season, to be honest. I don't know whether we've got any level-headed Chelsea fans in the chat, but this happened last year. You do have a collection of online fans that I would define as turbo prats. Like, they really, really do act like they don't touch grass very often. Like, they really are the crew of... They'd have been brilliant on Twitter about 8 years ago supporting Arsenal with their little Let's Win a Twitter poll. I don't get where it comes from. It happened last year with Chelsea as well. You won a game and you were going to finish above United, which you did, to be fair. But look, I'll repeat my message again. I watch football on this channel and I enjoy it. And I don't know why you have. I've got no interest in Chelsea as a Man United fan. You are not on my radar. I'm looking at Man City, Arsenal, and Liverpool as the three best teams in England. That's where I want Man United to be. I'm not interested in having one-upmanship with Chelsea. I don't think you're even a rival. When Mourinho was there, for a little bit, you were winning the league, you were a rival. But I don't see Chelsea as a rival. I see us as two clubs who are massively underachieving, who need to do better. And at the moment, you need a striker. And if you had a striker, you'd be in the top four. Lovely play by Son. Come on. I don't know. I just think this goal needs... I think this game needs a goal. 26 minutes, still 0-0. If you could choose a left-back from any Premier League club to play for United, who would it be? Raz says mine would be and then leaves it blank. Best left-back in the Premier League when fit is Luke Shaw. But being as he's not fit, I would say that... Well, it's probably going to have to be... It's probably going to have to be Andy Robertson, isn't it? Because Vardiel's not really a left-back. Who's Arsenal's left-back at the moment? We've not really seen whether it's Timber or Calafiori, and I don't want Zinchenko. Aston Villa, Digne's okay, but they've just bought Maatsen. Dan Burn at Newcastle. I think it would have to be Andy Robertson, wouldn't it? Matthew Lund says, we have a massive destabilisation problem. I think it started from sacking Tuchel and maybe controversial. After Tuchel, the connection fell apart and the constant selling of good players and bringing has just further destabilised us. I mean, look, it's not my place to say this, but I think Chelsea's PR around their actual fan base is absolutely shocking. And I think Matthew raises some good points that how do you build a relationship with your fan base when you're constantly changing managers, when you're constantly removing players, some of which actually have an association with Chelsea and a history with Chelsea, Mason Mount, Conor Gallagher, Chalobah, the identity to be relatable. Oh, what a goal! What a goal that is! Pedro Porro, Maddison. It's a lovely goal from a cross. And finally, that Leicester defence has been broken down. Whether it's for the good of the game or not, I don't know, but it might open it up a little bit more because Leicester have been ridiculously defensive. But that's been coming for a very long time. A lovely little flicked header by Porro. It's a wonderful finish. Wonderful sort of curly cross from quite a central position from Maddison. And it's curling in and he sort of ran into the box, little flick. And I tell you what, there's a lot of FPL people who have Porro in the team. And there won't be any sorrow in their house. Lovely little header. Lovely goal by Porro. 1-0 to Spurs. Totally deserved. And Maddison could be... Look, Spurs started the season very well last year. Chelsea fan here. Some promise, but you are right, says Lloyd. If you could choose, I'll have done that one. Now you're banned from charity on Stamford Bridge, says Thomas. Mark, Chelsea could have got Tony for 60 and Ramsdale for 40 instead of Felix. Thoughts on this, says Dylan. Well, I don't know whether they could have got... Ramsdale out of Arsenal, but they certainly could have got Tony out of Brentford. And yeah, I think that he probably could have done well on that one. One moment. Hey, did you see my ball? There we go. Look at that. Arrived today. I always like to get new balls for the start of the season, and that is an official, proper, expensive ones, not one of the fakes. Proper Premier League ball. It's nice. I like to get them. I do. I like to get some balls. But no, I do like them. They are good. Actually, talking of balls. We are sponsored by Manscaped. And seamlessly talking about big balls. Manscaped, 20% off, free worldwide shipping. That's what you want in your hand. Whoa, look at that. Imagine that with the light down there. It's got a new head on it. Can you see that? Just makes it a lot easier to get into the nooks and crannies. Trim the grass to make the yard look bigger. 20% and free worldwide shipping. You'll love it. You'll absolutely love it. I tell you what, your balls will be like that. You'll have balls like that with Manscaped. Balls to be proud of. Thank you very much. Can you do any kick-ups, says Tukund? I mean, I can do kick-ups, but I don't know whether you'll be able to see them. Let's try at half-time. Somebody just said that that Ivan Toney's been sold. It's the last Nike ball, says Crutch. Oh, well, I don't mind that really, because I've got quite a few Nike balls. I've got the last few from the last few seasons. So I've got a Mitre FA Cup one, and I used to have an Europa League one somewhere, but I think I just threw it in the bin. Do you think United could win Serie A if they were in it, says Avesh? I don't know, mate. I don't know. Our fan base is in denial. Chelsea have fallen off, says Matt. Lloyd says, we've done that one from him. Thank you very much for all the super chats coming in. Absolute legends, of course. Jasper said you missed my super chat. I don't think I did, Jasper. Let me have a look. Jasper, who's going to buy 30 million McTominay now that Fulham are out? Well, hopefully Napoli are still in. What do you think if Ivan Toney goes to Saudi? That was a question. Puma's their ball next year. Jed Spencer's on the bench, Tanmara. If Ivan Toney goes to Saudi Arabia, and this has got nothing to do with the gambling thing, so it's not bitchy or anything. If Ivan Toney goes to Saudi Arabia at 28 or 27, then he's obviously motivated by money. He won't be the first footballer and he won't be the last. I don't agree with it, but, you know, until you've walked in somebody's shoes, then, you know, but maybe he's out of options. Maybe he's sort of like, this is my last contract. I want 250k a week. The only place I'm going to get that is Saudi Arabia. Off I go. Because I don't understand for the life of me why a Spurs or a Chelsea haven't gone and said, this is a guy who scores nearly 20 Premier League goals a season with Brentford. It'd be good for us. "35 minutes gone. Spurs leading 1-0. Absolutely dominant. I've just realised that we've been stuck on Manscaped there. 20% off free worldwide shipping with the code footy. Check it out. I'll get the stats carousel rolling round now. Gundogan could be going back to City. Could be a good deal for City. Be a very good deal for City. Do you think his England career is over if he goes to Saudi? Yeah, but I don't think his England career is really a career anyway, is it? I mean, getting in the squad and playing cameo minutes here and there. I mean, he's behind Kane, he's behind Watkins. If Solanke starts scoring goals for Spurs, he might end up behind him. If I was Chelsea, I'd go for him, but obviously they don't want to do it. Odie Grass says, if this works, have a pint on me. Got a new card, says Odie. Thank you very much for your super chat, pal. Baron says, why don't you have any interest in Man United women's football? I don't watch women's football that often, mate, is the honest answer. So it's the same as why I've got no interest in basketball. I don't watch that. But I do watch women's football because my daughter plays it and I do really enjoy it. I just don't have any time to fit that in, unfortunately. I don't watch the Man United youth teams very often either. Zach Pedersen says, on Chelsea, as a fan, that the most frustrating part is the lack of accountability on Bowley and Bluco. He's happy to sit and talk about Premier League All-Stars, but why he won't talk about our actual plan and why the hell we don't have a striker or a proper goalkeeper. Fair point, Zach. Well made. Look, I still think Chelsea have got a good shout for top four this year. They've got to be in that race with the players that they've got. I mean, they certainly don't have weaknesses in the midfield, and they certainly don't lack options in the creative areas. And Nicholas Jackson will score goals. But, you know, you could do better. Favourite pint, says Harry. Lager. Constantine says, do you dress the kids in Man United kits? I don't dress my kids. They're all old enough to dress themselves. They have Man United kits. There's Maddison in the box. Good play. Oh, cut back. No one there. Spurs looked very good, but they looked very good at the start of last season. Remember, people were talking about Spurs and the title last year. All fell apart, didn't it, with a couple of injuries. Europa League for Spurs this year as well. Dominic says, what are your thoughts on Tottenham signings? I think they've made some really astute signings, actually. I mean, I know Solanke wouldn't be considered young, but he's a player that's coming with a lot to prove. And they bought a couple of younger players like Archie Gray and That Bergvall came in last year, didn't he? But he looks good as well. So, yeah, I mean, look, Spurs are... That's why I wanted to watch Spurs tonight, really, because they're an interesting team that are late to the party. They sort of get forgotten when you play on the Monday Night Football. Next game for Spurs will be... I mean, Spurs' start to the season is not too bad. I mean, if they can win here, which they're looking good at the moment to do, their next game is Everton at home, where I really think they'll win that on Saturday. Then, very interesting couple of games. Newcastle away, Arsenal at home. So it's very important for Spurs to start off with a couple of wins. Old Trafford on game week 6 as well. So in their first 6 games, they got Newcastle, Arsenal and United. Ross McRae Magician says, other than Felix to Chelsea, out of all the transfers done or nearly done so far, which transfers made you think that makes no sense? It's a big, big question, Ross. I can't... I'm trying to think of a transfer this summer that makes no sense. Come on, give me some examples. I've got a brain blank now. Hope you're well, Mark, says Farms. Who do you think is winning the transfer window so far? I mean, I thought United were winning it early July when I did the video. I mean, I think West Ham have had a good window, and you can't say because they lost to Villa that they've had a bad window. Just because you win the transfer window doesn't mean you do well in the league. They haven't played any of those yet, to be honest. Musa Diaby to Saudi. I wouldn't say it doesn't make sense. It makes sense to Musa Diaby's bank account, and it makes sense to Aston Villa's transfer fund. I think the biggest disappointment one for me was probably Douglas Luiz to Juventus, because the Premier League is better than Serie A and Aston Villa are better than Juventus, and the Premier League, you know, to have to sell Douglas Luiz to raise money is just a bit weird. But yeah, I suppose it had to happen. You know, I'm trying to think of Chelsea's transfers, whether any of them don't make sense. I mean, I like the Neto signing. I've got to be honest on that. On the pitch, I feel very positive about our team, but I do worry for Maresca, as some fans were already jeering yesterday due to our slow build-up play, says Blues enthusiast. I just think Chelsea should have kept Poch. I mean, I don't know the politics of it. Obviously, there was a fallout. And again, I just don't rate Maresca. I mean, you speak to Leicester fans, they weren't that impressed with him last season. I mean, I actually remember doing my Talk Sport show last year and having a couple of Leicester fans call in at different times during the season, really frustrated with his style of football. So, we will see. We will see. What 5 people would you choose to have dinner with, says Sonny? I'm not great at this sort of question, Jordan. And I'm sorry, I'm not going to find... you're not going to get a scintillatingly brilliant response to me for that. I never really think about it, and you're probably asking the wrong person, really. And I apologise for not giving you some, you know, hilarious response, but I don't really ever think about having dinner with 5 different people from history. I'd like to have dinner with Sir Alex. I'd like to have dinner with someone like De Niro or Pacino. Look, I like talking to people who interest me. So people who've got interesting lives and careers in things that I'm interested in. I mean, I probably wouldn't be opposed to having, you know, I'm trying to think of, no, if I say that, people, no, I'm not going to say that. Have you ever been to Bury St Edmunds in Suffolk? I don't think so, Dominic. Any good movie suggestion for tonight, says Rub. Yeah, well, you should watch that video I got recommended. A Most Violent Year. I mean, I thought it was okay. I must admit, with 15 minutes to go, I thought there was a lot to wrap up and they didn't wrap it up, but I still thought it was quite good. Corner to Spurs here. I tell you what, they've been very good in the air, Spurs. That's another corner, yeah. Could there be a chance that McTominay goes to Brighton, says Jordan? I wouldn't have thought they'd be looking for a player like that. It wasn't Hitler, Stephen. Although I have heard people say they wouldn't mind, you know, having a chat with Hitler. They want to, you probably want to do a few more other things to him. But I think someone said Escobar there, I think there'd be a lot of people who would like to have a chat with him, you know, criminologists and people like that, to try and understand the brain. But God, he was evil. Would Gary Neville ever do an interview with you? From interviewing Hitler to interviewing Gary Neville. Or no, Gary Neville interviewing me. Maybe there's a message there. I hope not. Would Gary Neville ever do an interview with you? No. He's ridiculously petty and he wouldn't do it. Neither would Lineker, to be fair. They're competitive sports people, and I suppose when you're a competitive sports person who's had your car washed throughout your whole career with hangers on and people kissing your arse, you don't deal well with people who call you out. So I can deal with that. It took me a bit of time to realise how that works. But in this industry, if you call a Shearer out or a Gary out, both of the Garys, they don't take kindly to it, and that's their own. That's absolutely fine. But they call others out. One rule for them and one rule for another. What about Carragher? I think Carragher probably would do it. He's probably not allowed to do it because of the people that he works with. The feedback I've had on Carragher is that he's actually sound, really nice bloke. Where it's not necessarily that feedback with others. Sanderberg to Fulham. Here we go. Aaron, you're so slow. I'm sorry. You're about 20 minutes late. Stephen Rossi says, I want to have dinner with both Pacino and De Niro so I can ask them to act their scene out from Heat. Sometimes I just watch that scene. Jay Knows Ball says, Barcelona fumbling the Nico Williams transfer would have been signing of the summer. Are they not getting him then? It's a shame. It's a real shame that. Olmo and Williams and Yamal at Barcelona. I mean, they're not going to beat Real Madrid, but it would have made them a better team. Darwy says, I genuinely forgot Leicester got promoted. Mate, I think Leicester forgot they got promoted, judging by this half. Definitely the worst promoted team performance so far. Southampton actually played well at Newcastle. Ipswich had a brilliant 45 minutes against Liverpool. But if Leicester's plan is this, it's going to be a long season. Parking the bus. Gary Oldman versus Christian Bale, says Termo. What's that got to do with it? I don't know what you're talking about. Yeah. And remember that they could be getting a points deduction as well. They'll get tonked. They'll get tonked, Leicester. They'll get tonked by everybody. I mean, teams like Brentford will do him playing like this. It's 2 different points deductions, actually, says Big Steve. And that's half time. They've been very, very poor, Leicester. And look, I know it's difficult. The gap between the Premier League and the Champions League is factually getting bigger and bigger. And that's why I think all 3 of them will go down. And we may have a very boring relegation battle, and we may have a very boring Premier League title race because I think City will win it, and that's terrible for brand Premier League if the 3 up go down and the Man City win another Premier League title. But I tell you what, Spurs are a good side, but if you've got Spurs at home, you can't put a performance in like that. You know, this ain't Man City or Liverpool or Arsenal. You know, when Man United and Spurs and Villa and everyone comes to your ground, you can't afford to play like that. If you want to stay up in this league, you've got to get 35 points. You're not going to get many on the road, so you need, 10 wins at home? You only play 19 games at home, and you need 10. If you're going to play that against Spurs, then you're going to do it against Villa, you're going to do it against Liverpool, you're going to do it against Arsenal, you're going to do it against Villa, you're going to do it against Man City, maybe Chelsea, Man United, Newcastle. Oh shit, that's 9 home games where you're sitting back like that. You can't win 10. That sort of game there is exactly why these teams will go down, because you can't play like that against Spurs. One of those you've got to find wins against Spurs and United and Newcastle and Chelsea and Villa and Brighton. You've got to find wins against them. You can't park your bus against every team in the top 8 because you won't get enough points at the end of the season. And also, you're not... big wake-up call to Leicester. You're not going to start beating teams like Brentford home and away or Palace home and away either. So that sort of plan is a one-way ticket back to the Championship, I'm afraid. Everton down. You come at Mark. You come at us all, says Odie. Apparently United are in for Georgia keeper. Yeah, I don't see that, Ali. I'd have dinner with you 5 times, says Pete. I tell you what, if you had dinner with me, it would be a good laugh. Because we'd have a drink. Tom Hiddleston did a great Heat impersonation in front of Robert De Niro on the Graham Norton show years ago, says Jack. I would say Robert De Niro smiled politely, but I wouldn't imagine, as Robert De Niro, you'd really enjoy somebody reenacting your work. My bad, just tuned in. Slow sports news, says Aaron. No worries, Aaron. No worries. I'm going to try and do some keep-ups here, but I don't think you'll see them. What's my best pumped up ball? I'll try the FA Cup. There's a bit of air in it. Okay. Yeah, you're only going to hear it. And that was a terrible... That first touch was like Lukaku. Okay, you know, I will do keep-ups, but you won't be able to hear them. Oh, you're rubbish. You're rubbish, Goldbridge. What's wrong with me? I haven't done any for a couple of weeks. Oh, my God. Get in the bin. Oh, mate. This is terrible. Absolutely terrible. One more go. Can't even do 10. $32. Should be doing better than that, really. It's a shame you can't see it. With a standing desk, I can take it down a level. Harry Ellis says, Liam Gallagher responded to you. I can't be... There's so many things I could say back, but I struggle with Liam because he actually is one of my heroes from a teenager's, you know, definitely maybe in that. So, yeah, he's a big Man City fan and he does call me out, but you should never meet your heroes. And I really don't want to meet Liam Gallagher or Roy Keane because something inside of me would die if they were a knobhead. And that's why they say don't meet your heroes, because if they are just normal people with a chip on their shoulder or a bit of an arsehole, I think a part of you dies, because when somebody's a massive part of your aspirational childhood, if you meet them, that part of you as a child dies if they're not what you expect. So, yeah. Opinion on the overlap, Mark, says Richard Bowyer. I don't watch it, but you can't knock it. It's an interesting dynamic in the world of football, and it's a, you know, especially in an area of football that was dying, they're sort of wrestling it back, and we need to up our game a little bit, really. But the world I operate in is just, it's just very, very difficult. I mean, yeah, I think there's a response to the overlap for what I do, but getting those people in a room to do it. Evening, Bridgerton. What are your thoughts on the Bond franchise? Favourite Bond? I was thinking about James Bond the other day, Tom, and I thought, like, they kill him off, which they never should have done, and then they leave it. I don't know what the future is for James Bond, because I think the way they ended the last one was just ridiculous. Anyway, thank you very much for that super chat. 29 Makeup Bridge, says Odie. Don't know what that means. I think my lips are a bit pink today. I haven't put lipstick on. Why would I put lipstick on? Why would I have pink lips? Is it because... Could it be something I've eaten? I noticed it myself on the podcast today. They looked a bit pink. Stephen says you've just spoiled James Bond. Mate, Chops just said it as well. If you haven't watched James Bond in the last 5 years since it happened, I'm not having spoilers on that. I'm not having spoilers on that. It's like saying Jaws died at the end of Jaws. If you can't be asked to watch one of the greatest films ever, It's not on me. It's on you. Sorry to go on about Chelsea, says Matthew. Absolutely fine. It's a football channel. But the treatment of Chalobah is disgusting. Horrible advert for our academy, not our values. Owners don't understand. They should read your book to understand football, says Matthew. Well, you can get my book, Goldbridge, Football According to Mark Goldbridge, get in. It is a fantastic book. If I say myself, it's up there. That's the George Best book. And Who's the Genius? But the point I'm trying to make, and I was trying to make this goal when the Porro goal went in, which was a very, very good goal, is that I'm not a Chelsea fan. But from the outside in, I think the biggest mistake that the Chelsea ownership are making is that they're trying to run the football club very much in the franchise model of an NFL club. They don't seem to understand the football fan because they make decisions that are completely at odds with what a football fan is. And you're right. The way that that Chalobah has been dealt with, Conor Gallagher to a certain extent, the way they've dealt with managers, they don't seem to understand that these types of players matter differently to someone like a Mudryk or a Madueke or a Nicholas Jackson. You know, your homegrown players are different, and you know you shouldn't be openly treating them badly. The turnover of player and manager makes for quite a mercenary club, and the identity of Chelsea is very hard to understand at the moment. I think what Chelsea is screaming out for, and I thought they had it with Pochettino, they were screaming out for a bit of continuity and a bit of stability, and fans want that. They don't want to be changing their manager every year. They don't want to be changing their players every year, and Chelsea is screaming out for some continuity and some consistency and some stability. And I think when they find that, things will start to get better on and off the pitch. But they also do need a striker. The CR Bro says, Mark, please can you call my son Rudy a helmet from his dad? There you go. Thoughts on Burge to Fulham? What about McSauce and Agate now? Says as I said on the United stand earlier, worst case scenario, we don't get Agate, McTominay stays, and we probably sign Amrabat on a cheap deal. Best case scenario, McTominay goes, we get Agate. I think time's running out in the window. I mean, look, that's a great question as well. Obviously, I talk about United a lot as a United fan. But what are your thoughts on the last 11 days of the transfer window? I mean, will Liverpool do anything? Got any Liverpool fans in? Will you do anything? What do you think you'll do? Man City haven't really done anything apart from Savio. Do you think they'll do something else? Newcastle, Tottenham, Aston Villa, Arsenal, Mourinho, is he going to come in? Like, there's not long left in this window. So what do you think? Jay says, what colour lippy are you wearing? I'm actually not wearing any, but I suppose it probably looks like a bit of an autumn blush. If City win the Premier League with the refereeing decisions and get away with charges, I'm totally done with football, let alone the Premier League, says Dak. Yeah, I mean, it's very early days, but I mean, look, by all means, it's a free world, but you really should be tuning into our Premier League review show on midday on a Monday, which we did today. If you did, I'm repeating it. If you didn't, it might be new news. I was very excited about the start to the Premier League season, and I think we all want to pretend that, you know, it's like the World Cup and the Euros. Oh, this is the best World Cup ever. This is the best Euros ever. This is the best Premier League ever. And actually, for all the hype and bluster, I came out of that Premier League weekend and I was like, Arsenal won, Man City won. All the relegated, all the newly promoted teams don't look good enough, and a lot of the chasing pack don't look good enough to get near Arsenal and Man City. Arsenal and Man City look very similar to last season in the way that they're playing. VAR is as bad as it's ever been. I literally could just be walking from last season into this season, and yeah, I don't want that to be the case, but you know, I do feel a little bit like that, and that's why I think look, people don't forget. Wolves were the only team to vote to have VAR switched off. The clubs are not your friends. The Red Army, like the biggest fan group within match day experiences for Manchester United put some very, very good statements out around VAR to say Manchester United should be voting against it, and Manchester United didn't. So football clubs are not your friends here. The mainstream are not your friends here. I don't know why, but there is a close-knit, back-scratching protection league going on around VAR. And it's almost like the clubs go, we're making so much money, and, you know, Sky and TalkSport and PGMOL and the Premier League, it's almost like they all go, we're all making so much money, we may as well just put up with the fact that, you know, every now and again you'll get a bad decision against you. And actually, it does as well, because everyone starts talking about the league and getting mad, and therefore it gets more interest. So, yeah, I suppose the short answer is, at the moment, I don't feel like this league is any different to last year. And therefore, I said last year there was a lot of dilution of the enjoyment of football because it's becoming predictable. You know, I think Heat is a great film, and I'll never stop watching it. But every time I watch it, it becomes less enjoyable as the time I watched it before, because I know it. I've seen this movie before. It's still a movie that I'm going to keep watching, but I know it more every time I watch it. And the Premier League, it feels like it's going like that. But the thing is, the Premier League is not a movie. The Premier League can evolve and become better and better and better. Every season should be like a season of a TV show that you like. And it should be, I haven't seen that before. And the Premier League is just becoming a little bit repetitive. And that's a real shame, because there's no excuse for it. It should be better every year. But I'm worried about, you know, we talk about Man City and I think they will win the league, but I'm worried about relegation. I mean, what is the point in going, oh, Leicester, Ipswich and Southampton, and we relegated them all before they've even been promoted? Like, I know it's not happened every year. It's unfair to say that every team, every three that come up go down, but I think at the moment, it happened last year, I think it'll happen this year, and I think it'll happen next year. Apparently United have opened talks with McTominay over a new contract, says Raz. Where are you getting that from, mate? I mean, it wouldn't surprise me, but yeah. I can't see anything about it. Players are coming out for the second half. Christian's got a long flight tomorrow. Good to listen to your book. That'll get you through 7 hours, mate. 7 hours that book is, if you listen to it. Thank you very much. Players are coming out for the second half here. Can Leicester get back into this? I wouldn't have thought so. Colin says it'd be like the same if Slot did that to Trent Alexander-Arnold, says Colin. Thank you very much for that. Please do subscribe to the channel, by the way. We are on the road to 1.25 million, and we're only 200 subscribers away from 244,000. So thanks everyone who's tuning in. Everyone's welcome on That's Football, as you well know. Lots of content on here. In fact, got a cracking little video going up tomorrow about Arsenal. Bit similar to the one I did about Slot. So something a little bit different, but check that out. That'll be out tomorrow morning. Leicester about to start. I mean, what do you think about Jamie Vardy playing up front for Leicester on the opening game of the season? I mean, the reason I say that is that 2 years ago, he wasn't starting for Leicester really anymore. They get relegated, they're back up, and he's starting up front again. Is that progress? He's 37, and he was a guy that was always about pace. Look, regardless of what you think about that, the proof will be in the pudding, but one thing I have said many, many times, if you put Ollie Watkins up front for any of these teams, they might actually stay up. Now, I know Leicester and Ipswich and Southampton can't get Ollie Watkins, but you can probably get better than what they've all got. And it surprises me that, you know, look, Brentford stayed up because they had Ivan Toney. Brentford came into the Premier League and solidified themselves because they had Ivan Toney. I suppose it's the same as Chelsea, really, isn't it? If Chelsea had a top-class striker, they'd be in the top four. And if any of Ipswich, Southampton or Leicester could find, you know, an up-and-coming top-class striker, they'd stay up. It's not easy. It's not easy. You know, Arsenal don't have one, so it's not easy. But second half started. Sorry, I've got the wrong clock going here. Idiot. 46-25. 46-25. I'm going to have to wait till 42 now. Oh, it's going to be a long 5 seconds. That's what she said. There we go. Don't forget, Brentford also has a good manager. Yeah, but good manager or not, you still need a guy to put the ball in the back of the net regularly. How's your fantasy? Says Tyler. Absolutely shit, mate. I did so well on the Super 6. I'm like in the top 10 on Super 6 out of thousands, but Fantasy Premier League, oh God. I think my puppy's done better than me and they're not in it. Just really bad. I used to be good at FPL as well. That's the kit Chelsea should have had, says Kenneth. Yeah, that new Chelsea kit's not good, is it? Chelsea kits in the past that I've liked, just plain blue. Keep it simple and then do the work with the trim and the white. Yeah. Yanis says, are you confident about Agate? I am still confident they'll get the deal done, but it might not be easy, mate. They need to get it done. United will not get top four with that midfield. If we're wandering into this season thinking Casemiro and Eriksen and McTominay and Mount and Bruno and Mainu is going to be enough, it won't. Hello, Mark. I am McTominay's mother. I hope United fans can back him and let him stay because his dream is to retire and become a legend at Man United, says Mrs. McTominay. Love it. Love it. In the modern day, you never know. I'm very good with confidentiality, but I do get some players, well, probably some players watching this now, but I do get players who drop me a message every now and again. And but I've never had any player's mum. Not like that either. Imagine that. No, let's not. Richarlison on the bench. I thought Richarlison had gone to Saudi. He doesn't look very happy. Is he not going then? I thought he'd gone. He's chose to stay, says Welsh lad. Good cross that. Well, good defending. I mean, Leicester have defended well. They'll be doing a lot of that this season. Mark, it's on United Tracker about our McTominay contracts, says Ronald. I don't know what United Tracker is. Joel says apparently he declined Saudi. And Odie says Chelsea can get in the bin. They've started inflation in the Premier League. Oh, what skill that is by Solanke. Crap pass, though. Son. Porro. Oh, God. Maddison looking to get the cross in. Cut back to Brennan Johnson. Should have cut it back. Greedy Maddison. That's a foul. I'll tell you what, Brennan Johnson looks a bit different this year. Not visibly, but technically. He just looks a little bit more balanced on the ball. A little bit more composed. Keep your eye on that. It just looks a little bit more composed on the ball. I mean, he's still quite young, isn't he? How old is Brennan Johnson? Again, a young player brought in. 23? Only just 23? Yeah, just, it looks a little bit, looks more composed. Joro says Chelsea will get top four. Oh, will Chelsea get top four? I haven't got them for top four. Here we go. Leicester, you're in. Vardy. He's in. Good defending by Sarr. And I think there might have been an offside as well. Yeah, there was. Have you seen Cobra Kai, says Sanjay? Well, I've seen it up to what it is. There's still... Is there not another few episodes coming out in November and then a few next year? They're dragging it out, mate. Here's one for the chat. I might do a poll on this, actually. Southampton stand, which promoted team has the best chance of staying up? We don't normally do a three-way, but let's do a three-way. Who has best chance of staying up? Ipswich, Leicester, Southampton. I've got to be fair. I actually need to watch Southampton. They're the one I know the least about. Could do the second goal, couldn't they, Spurs? Always that danger on the break for Leicester, and they are at home. Fraser Coote says, serious question mark, who would win in a fight? Johnny English or Mr. Bean? Oh, it's very easy for Johnny English, that. He's like an agent. Not a very good super agent, but Mr. Bean couldn't get out of bed. I knew most people would go with Ipswich. I think there's an area of sentimentality there. I mean, would Leicester not beat Ipswich last year? Oh. Sarr. Slanky's not going to score, is he? Go on, Solanke. Oh, straight at the bloody keeper. I jinxed myself there. Well, I didn't. I was right. I didn't jinx myself. I was actually right. Oh, I need him to score. I've got him in my FPL. Straight at the keeper. He did well. He went for power. Odie Grass says Ipswich are the one that will stay up there every day. Kieran is a top manager. I don't think any of them will stay up. But best chance of staying up? I think you're right. I think one of them needs to have a better chance than the other so that they can beat the others. There's 12 points there. If Ipswich could beat Southampton and Leicester home and away, you get 12 points, don't you? They were that if they're all going to beat each other. I mean, last year was horrible, wasn't it? Sheffield United, Burnley, and Luton. You knew in bloody August they were going down. I think Leicester, Southampton, and Ipswich have got better quality than Sheffield United and Luton. They've got better teams, but I still think they'll all go down. I can't see Everton going down red. I mean, they're not very good, but I just don't think Forest, Everton, Brentford, I think they'll get enough points to stay up. Spurs still pushing here. Oh, lovely ball. Brennan Johnson. Oh, he's got to score. Oh, another crap shot. Straight at the keeper from Bentancur. That's two chances in basically 2 minutes. He probably should have laid that off to Sarr, to be fair. I'd have had a shot. Liverbird says Leicester have got 2 points deductions coming and Southampton are 2 open. Portman Road will keep Ipswich up. I'll tell you what, I don't really take any notice of it until it happens, but what an uninspiring situation where a team gets promoted to the Premier League and they're going to get 2 separate points deductions. I mean, it's got to be a goal. What are Spurs doing here? Vardy, I've jinxed him. 1-1, Vardy. Easiest goal he'll ever score. He's absolutely ecstatic. Chat shit, get banged. What are Spurs defence doing here? I mean, they're literally not there. Jamie Vardy, unmarked, on the 6-yard box, dead central, from a cross that wasn't even that unpredictable. It's shocking defending from another London club. Cross comes in. They don't deal with the first one. Van der Ven's terrible on the first one. And Romero, I mean, look at this. It's just bad defending from Spurs. The first cross could have gone in, but they're not marking. They're not marking there. That is bad. Vardy's got to score that, and he obviously clearly does. But if he misses that, that's an absolute clanger. So we spoke about this. Makes the game interesting. But Spurs can't be coming away from here with a point. You'd be fuming. And let's not forget, Spurs had a couple of chances just before that. Solanke and Bentancur. Vardy's having a party, says Danielle. Well, he's had 8 opening day goals in his career. Second only to Mo Salah, who apparently isn't world class, according to Simon Pratt-Jordan. I mean, I've heard some bad takes in my life. I've heard people have bad takes for clicks, but that has to be one of the worst. You should be sacked instantly for that. Mo Salah is not world class. He's overrated. Not my words. Well, Leicester have got the crowd up. They've got half an hour and they've got a cross into the box here. Spurs having their Spursiness tested here already. Let's have a look at some of the comments. Do you think Darwin will win the Ballon d'Or? He's got to get in the Liverpool team first. Darren says, Simon Jordan knows fuck all about football. Vardy never gets old, says Taze. Brighton to win the lottery, says Mick. Who got the assist, says Sweet Rigo. I didn't see that. I didn't see you got that. Do you think Salah versus Hazard poll? And Dirish Devil says, why are you not on TalkSport anymore? I just decided I didn't want to do it anymore, really. And I think it was a good decision. I'm bored of talking about it. If anyone's interested, I will, but I'm bored of talking about it, to be honest. All I will say is that I had 19,000 people watching the United stand at 8 o'clock on Saturday for an hour. So Ipswich every day. Kieran is a top manager, says Odie. Okay, just on the poll, who has the best chance of staying up? 42% Ipswich, 38% Leicester. That's closer than I thought. 20% Southampton. There you go. Tarek's laughing about Spurs. When's the Jamie Vardy video coming out? I thought there was a film. Well, Spurs have got to show some character now. Fair play to Leicester. Oh! No, didn't appeal for it. Well, Leicester are in control at the moment. Van der Ven heads it away. And Leicester win it back. That's a foul. There was another chance to put a cross in. Wizard said Spurs have played too intense and they're getting gassed now. Well, he needs to make subs. Significance of a good cross. Football is very simple, says Oddy. Well, this is it. Udogie. I think Udogie kicked the ball, didn't he? Yeah, it's not a penalty, that. Bond says, was it your decision to leave talks? But, oh, mate, people will make up what they like. I mean, at the end of the day, I said on the podcast I was thinking about doing it from about March, and I was still on every week. So it was 100% my decision. And I don't want to medal for that, but it was 100% my decision. It was the right decision for me, for a multitude of reasons, and I'm very happy with it. Imagine Spurs the first team to lose to promoted teams, says Colin. I still think Spurs will win this. They're just going through a bad patch. The main thing they've got it. Oh, here we go. What a ball into Vardy that was. Good defending to recover it. What's your next watch along? We haven't got any midweek fixtures, have we? That's the weird thing about the start to the season. You don't actually get midweek Premier League or European games until September, do you? So there is no football tomorrow. There is Champions League qualifiers, but no one's going to watch that shit. If you want to watch Chelsea play in the Europa League on Thursday night, then by all means, it's not even the Europa League, is it? Oh my God, it's not even the Europa League. It's the Conference League qualifiers for Chelsea. Oh my God. I know they're playing a team from Switzerland because we were talking about it yesterday. But yeah, if you want to watch Chelsea in the Conference League qualifiers on Thursday, then by all means you can. They'll be joining European giants such as St. Patrick's Athletic, Lincoln Red Imps. Who are Lincoln Red Imps? They can't be Lincoln from the UK. Lincoln Red Imps FC. Who are they? They're from Gibraltar. There you go. Yeah, so our next watch along will be on the weekend. Obviously, I'll be doing Man United on United stand on Saturday lunchtime. Brighton against Man United at 12:30, and then Villa against Arsenal 5:30. I think that'll be the next one, because I won't be able to do the 3 o'clock games because I'll be reacting to Man United. So 5:30, Villa against Arsenal on Saturday, and then on Sunday I'll probably do Liverpool Brentford. We've got Monday night football next week. No. Miserable guess. I like Monday night football. Why have they not got Monday night football next week? Bloody hell. Imagine Spurs, the first team to lose to promoted team, says Colin. Well, Spurs are going through a bit of a bad patch in this last 10 minutes. I think Villa-Arsenal next Saturday is the game of the weekend, isn't it? I mean, I think Brighton-Man United will be a good one. But, yeah, Villa-Arsenal. There are some good games early on. Next week, after that, it's Man United-Liverpool. Week after that, you got, game week after that, Spurs-Arsenal. Best cuisine poll, says Saurab. I think we've done that before. I don't want to do that one, Saurab. Hi, Mark. Cardiff fan here. Don't know if you've heard, but it looks like we're signing Will Fish. Any idea what he's like, says Niall. I think he'd be okay for you, yeah. You're in the Championship, aren't you? Looks like Bergvall and Kulisevsky are coming on here for the Spurs. Which probably means that he's going to take off Brennan Johnson. It's all Leicester at the moment. Here's Ndidi. Side netting. No way Spurs finishes on top of us this season, says Mariki. I don't know who us is. Could be Chelsea, could be United, could be Arsenal, I don't know. Liam McLaren says, hi, from South Africa. Hi, Liam. Start bench sell, Hazard, Robin Van Persie or Salah? I mean, I really do like Robin Van Persie, but I've got to say, talent-wise, I would sell Van Persie, bench Hazard, and start Salah on talent. Paul says, have you seen McTominay to Fulham is off? Posted it an hour ago. Yes, we have, mate. Yeah, we've spoken about that. Hopefully Napoli can do something. Here's Brennan Johnson. First attack in a while for Spurs. Goes for a throw. Ross says, there's always one upset in the opening weekend, and I'm glad it's Spurs. Thanks everyone who's tuning in, by the way. Please do subscribe, bottom right-hand corner. Lesnide said, did the game take a turn? It certainly did. Spurs had two really good chances just before the Leicester equaliser, and then since then, goals change games. Leicester galvanised, more concentrated, believing more, home crowd. It's going to be hard for Spurs now. Which is why they should have put the game to bed. Sven says, 1 year without drinking or 1 year without swearing. I'd certainly find it easier to not drink alcohol for a year than I would to not swear. True story, actually. Not my proudest hour. I'll tell you in a minute, because Leicester are on the attack. That's a crap cross. I actually got approached by a charity about 5 years ago to do... They said, we like your content and we think there's a really good charity link up we could do where you basically don't swear for a month, and it was a good charity. So I lasted about half an hour. Just can't. I was brought up around swearing, and it's part of my vocabulary. Pardon the pun. I just can't not do it. I just can't not do it, especially involving football. Bullshit and the F word, I just can't. You can't. The thing about naturally speaking is that it's very hard to... Oh, Son's in behind. Keeper's very quick off his line. Well done, keeper. You know, having an alcoholic drink or a biscuit is a conscious decision to go and put it in your mouth, isn't it? But vocabulary, it's very hard to stop yourself from doing something because you talk almost naturally 90% of your day. I think Man City, 2 new players, Oscar Bob and Savinho, will bench Foden. They're both brilliant, says Nicholas. There you go. And Such Tryhard says, if we sign Sander Berge, we are cooked. Vardy's through. Oh, he's probably got to score that one. He's got that's got to be a goal. You put money on it. He's onside. To be fair, he's a bit wider than I thought. But that's a great chance for Vardy. Cordova Reed. Into Vardy. Yeah, he'll have wanted to score that, but I think you've got to give Vicario a bit of credit. The angle's a little bit wider than I thought, and Luke says Leicester are staying up now. They've looked decent second half. Red Devil says Vardy doesn't do anything wrong, to be fair. And there's a head injury here in the box. That might be Romero. That's not Romero because he stood up. Well, Spurs are about to make quite a few subs here. And there's a stretcher coming out. This looks like... is it Bentancur? It's Bentancur, yeah. A few people saying it might be Solanke. Don't think it looks particularly... Oh, I don't know. See, we'll see. Brian Walsh says, I'm just waiting on Tottenham for 1,000 bet to win. Got all the weekend right so far. They will become my most hated team if they don't pull it off. Yeah, I can understand that, Brian. Yeah. Noah says, Mark's the best YouTuber. It's amazing how I was attracted to that comment. Thank you, Noah. Do you think football evolves past the Pep way? Oh, it's got to, Cameron. It's got to. We're crying out for it. If the Pep way is possession and passing through the lines, then I think the antidote to that is taking people on. You know, going back to some of the older things that we used to see in football. You know, worldies, take a couple of people on, put it in the bottom corner. You know, take a shot from 40 yards out and smack it in the top corner. I think it will happen because if you can, doesn't matter how well Pep sets his team up. If you take one of his players on, his press won't work. But it's all about coaching. Everybody's replicating the Pep way at the moment. So, yeah, we just need a bit of more flair, really. Well, this must be quite a significant injury because we've not seen any camera coverage of it. So hopefully, Bentancur will be all right. Significant delay. Obviously, we haven't seen what happened, but it's obviously some sort of collision or fall. He apparently got knocked out cold, says Kevin Carter. Failed my driving theory test by 1 mark, says Benjamin. Yeah, but you can redo that one, can't you? We're keeping you up, Mark. I am tired today, Joe. I mean, it's the first Premier League weekend. Can be quite tiring. I'm sure you're all the same as me. Watched a lot of football this weekend. Obviously, we're going to get significant minutes added on at the end of this as well. It'd be interesting to see what the delay does for the game as well, because Leicester had a bit of momentum, but obviously 25 minutes to go, probably half an hour to go actually, when you think about how long he's been down, and it will. It's like restarting the game. What do you think's been the best game of the weekend, says Moira. Villa, West Ham was good. I thought, you know what? I actually thought Ipswich-Liverpool was quite a good game. It was interesting. Second half, Ipswich were dead on their feet, weren't they? But I thought it was an interesting game. But West Ham-Villa was probably the game of the weekend, I think. This one's not been bad, I agree, Hardick. Solanke for 65 million is crazy. But if he's scoring goals, mate, Bentancur's actually up. So that's always a good sign. He's not up. He's sat up. Or is he? Yeah, he is, yeah. Bit of oxygen. Yeah, he's fine. Leicester to surprise everyone and finish 8th. We sometimes get that one promoted team that shocks everyone, says Steve. I'd be stunned if that happened, Steve. Yeah, he's got a bit of oxygen. He's sat up. He's going to lie down now, and obviously they'll take him to hospital for some tests. Four substitutions coming on for Spurs. Timo Werner, Bergvall, Archie Gray, and Kulusevski. Well, one of them will be for Bentancur, of course. Duma says, talk more about relegated City, please, Mark. Well, look, from a purely footballing point of view, the league will be better without Man City in it. I think it's sad that we're hoping that they get found guilty of serious charges and relegated to make the Premier League better. But, you know, to be blunt, it would be better without Man City in it because they are absolutely dominant and will continue to dominate for a very long time. But I'm ill at ease to say I hope they get found guilty because you are hoping that they are cheats and that they are going to get kicked out of the league, which is not nice for Man City fans, the majority of which are not knobheads. You know, Manchester City, when they were in League One, had 30,000 fans and they weren't owned by Abu Dhabi. So whatever we think about Man City, there are innocent fans involved who are not involved in it. So it does feel a little bit weird at times to think, well, I hope they get found guilty so they get booted out the league for cheating, because it's not the fans that cheated, is it? Obviously, there are some people who support Man City because they're good, but there's a lot of people who support Man City who, you know, have supported them before they even had a glimpse of what's going to come. But from a purely footballing point of view, they what's Vardy doing here? To Romero. Telling Romero to fuck off. Was he pointing at the no to racism thing because it was Romero and Argentina? Is that what he was doing? I'll come back to that in a minute, but I don't know what was going on there. Vardy was pointing at his shoulder, and it does say no to racism on it, and then he was having a big go at Romero. So I don't know. Explain that one to me. But no, look, you know, going back to Man City, the league would be better without them in it from a competitive point of view. There's no doubt about that. They've won 6 of the last 7. It's complete and utter domination. It's PSG in the French league time, isn't it? It's Bayern Munich in the Bundesliga. It's domination. Nobody wants that. So apart from Man City, but it does feel like the only way we're going to get rid of them is if they're actually guilty of charges, because it's not going to change any other way. Confirmed router to Brighton, says Caro. Thank you very much. That's from Leeds, isn't it? Poll question, Jackson or Duran, says Comedy Long Pants Gamer. Oh, it's a bit niche, but we'll do it. Either or. Right, Spurs, lots of changes now. Kulusevski's on for Maddison. Archie Gray's on for Bentancur. Bergvall's on for Sarr. And Werner's on for Johnson. So he's gone a bit attacking here. Mavididi came on for Vardy. And Samari's come on for Leicester as well. Thanks for all the super chats tonight. Reminding Romero he'll never take the Falklands, says Thomas Hopley. Why has he taken Maddison off, says Jonathan. That was the one I sort of looked at and thought, bit weird, because he has had a good game for them. But look, Ange does what Ange wants. He couldn't give up Ange Postecoglou for anything else. Werner still at Spurs as well. Is Vardy a Premier League legend or just a Leicester legend, says HBN? Good question. I mean, I don't consider him a Premier League legend to me, but he has got a good record in the Prem. You can't deny that. Matthew Lunn, welcome to the Members Club. Thank you very much, Matthew, and thank you for your input tonight. Kulusevski's been better than Maddison in pre-season, says Jake. Here we go. Oh, no, he didn't bounce. Son. Now, keep an eye on the time here, because I think we're going to get probably 12 minutes added on at the end, and we've still got 8 of the normal time. I'm only 19, but are Spurs bigger than Villa and Everton, says Cameron. You may only be 19, but you've just opened a right bee's nest there, mate. Porro. Solanke. Oh, nearly. Lovely play there between Solanke and Kulusevski. It just didn't drop back. Who's the bigger club? Spurs or Villa or Everton? I think we're having another three-way here. Duran's beaten Jackson 72% to 28%. I'm gonna get this up here. Start a poll. Who is the... I think you've started something here, Cameron. Who is the bigger club? What was it? Everton, Villa or Spurs? And remember, bigger club doesn't mean you're the best club at the moment, because Man United's a bigger club than Man City, but Man City have won 6 of the last 7. So it doesn't necessarily mean who's the best team, who's the bigger club. Mark, surely you knew McTominay wasn't going nowhere, just like the other donkey, Harry Maguire, says Nicholas. Napoli are still in the game. Spurs are looking good at the moment. Another block. Leicester, as I said, that big break seems to have gone in Spurs' favour, even though they lost a player. The reset appears to have sparked them into action. Oh, God, my back's killing me today. That's too much standing up. Vardy's got a better Premier League legacy than Kane, in my opinion, says That's Hoth. Well, he's got a bloody better winner's medal. Vardy was pointing to the Premier League badge, reminding Romero he has a Premier League title, and Romero doesn't. There we go, Fraser. Thank you very much for the clarity on that. Villa are absolutely smashing Everton and Spurs here with 49% of the vote on who is the bigger club. Another Leicester sub here. Spurs have rented out their trophy cabinet, says Gar. And Tottenham says, mate, what are you talking about? What can I do when our domestic success isn't as good as other English clubs? I'd say, I mean, look, Villa are winning. I would say Villa are a bigger club than Spurs and Everton because they've won the European Cup and they're absolute, they've got, their stadium must be, well, no, Spurs would have a bigger stadium now, wouldn't they? But I'd say it's Villa. Over the bar there. 86 minutes. Please do subscribe. But thanks everyone for tuning in. 17,000 for Monday Night Football can't be bad. We're only 100 subscribers away from 244,000. I've got a cracking video going up tomorrow about Arsenal. Make sure you check that out. Spurs are in down the right-hand side here with Timo Werner. He puts the cross in first time, but Faze is there to clear it. But Werner is, again, Spurs looking a bit more vibrant now. Porro. Kulusevski, he's looked lively. Good bit of skill. Good defending by Leicester. They're under the cosh. Here's Bergvall. Nice little ball into Kulusevski, but the Leicester defender clear. No, he doesn't clear it. Kulusevski wins a header. Wins a throw-in even. What are we thinking here? Here's Son. Bad first touch. Bad first touch. Took it at his feet too much. It's all Spurs, though, at the moment. That's a foul. No, he said no. Looked like a blatant foul to me, ref. Well, thankfully, we've not had any bad VAR moments. I'll tell you one thing I will say positive that I forgot to say on the Premier League review at lunchtime. I've got one thing I will say positively about what I've seen. It might be a little bit early yet, but I don't know what your thoughts are. Man City-Chelsea, 5 minutes added on at the end of the game. Man United against Fulham, 4 minutes added on at the end of the game. That would have been unheard of last season. Yes, we did have 8 for Ipswich and Liverpool, but I'm starting to see a downward trend on ridiculous minutes added on. Now, we'll get a lot added on for this because we had a significant time out, of course, but I'm all for that. I only want to see 5 or 6 minutes at the end of Premier League games. I want to be thinking as it gets to the 89th minute, we're coming towards the end of this game. Leicester on the attack here. He's got no options. Oh, yeah. Oh, he nearly did. Good defending by Van der Ven. I read in your book that Blackburn were once the Man City of English football, says Shubham. What happened to them? Points deduction. I ain't a 90s kid, Mark, says Shubham. Blackburn Rovers were the original gangsters. They were the original Chelsea. They were the original Manchester City. What happened to Blackburn Rovers is actually something I probably can't answer. They had, was it Jack Walker? He might have been a Sir. Loads of money. They nearly got Keane. We stole Keane. Shearer went there. They bought loads of players. They won the Premier League, and I think that was I think that's what he wanted to do. Toby says the money ran out. Porro's limping at the moment, but yeah, it's they were the originals. Yeah, Kevin Carter said Jack Walker's dream was winning the league with Blackburn. Remember when they played in the Champions League and Graham Lasso and David Batty were out having a fight with each other? They both played for Blackburn. Talking of the book, by the way, if you're heading on your holidays and you want something good to read, I've heard that Kate Middleton's got a book out, but it's sold out, so get mine. No, but on a serious note, if you're heading on your holidays, you want something to read, get the book. It's available on an audio file as well, so you can listen to it. Amazon's the best place to get that, and you can get it delivered worldwide on Amazon. Scan the QR code, order the book. I think you'll enjoy it. You'll probably enjoy it more than the Premier League weekend. There's a lot more highlights in it, and yeah, I think you'd really enjoy it. Thanks everyone who's bought it and supported it. Based on who you've watched this weekend, says Mikey Boy, besides United, what team in the Premier League has surprised you the most so far? What, on one weekend? Well, mate, I could say Brighton, and then United could go there and beat them 3-0, and then you'd go, they're crap. Leicester, oh no, he's not going anywhere here. Oh, what a cross! Why didn't you volley it, you prat? Why has Ndidi not volleyed that? Vicario's furious with Bergvall for allowing the cross to come in. He lost the ball. And didn't stop the cross either. And Vicario's not happy with him. No, to be fair, I don't think Ndidi's ever going to volley that, is he? Yeah, Mikey Boy, based on 9 minutes added on. Only 9 minutes added on, which means he wasn't going to add that much on then, was he? It's almost like they don't want to add more than 10 on anymore. There should be more minutes added on than that. Even I would say there should be more than 9. Jed Spence is on for Porro. Team that's impressed me the most this weekend, I think Villa deserve a massive shout out because West Ham have won the transfer window. West Ham are going to be really good. And although West Ham weren't really ready, Villa went there and for the first half an hour picked up exactly where they were last season. So I think Villa were really impressive there, and a lot of people had written them off. There's slim pickings this weekend. It's very hard to pick out a team. Ipswich were good for 45 minutes. Brighton destroyed Everton, but yeah. I reserve judgment on Brighton until they play United, which could be a bad experience, but hopefully not. Oh, good block. Leicester, shot edge of the box. Jacob says, hi, Mark. I've just bought your book. Great listen. What do you think about Bergvall? I think he's a potentially good player, but that potential's got to be given time to develop, hasn't it? Cameron says, who's the most unique Premier League player you've ever seen? I think Cantona for me. I think Cantona in the modern game would blow minds because you'd have to change certain things to make him work in the modern game. But look, Cantona wasn't necessarily quick, but he glided past people. Amazing technique and touch, physical, good in the air, magnetic control. Quite a unique player, actually. I mean, and Berbatov's a good shout. Even someone like Matt Letizia would be a good shout. They're just very... I'm not saying they're the best players the Premier League have ever had. You know, people like Thierry Henry deserve their place in that conversation. And, you know, Ronaldo and people like Rooney as well. And Bergkamp. Ginola was another one quite unique. But for me, Cantona, because I saw a lot of Cantona. And he's just very unique player. That I wish we had more players like that, actually. Not all about pace, but... you know, pure technique, confidence, swagger. Bergkamp would be the same. Yeah. This is not going to be a good result for Spurs unless they can win it. They'll be disappointed with this. What are you thinking, Spurs fans? You'd be disappointed. You'd be saying 2 points dropped. And from Leicester, you'd be saying great start. I think at 1-0... based on the first half, Spurs should have had this game wrapped up. The fact that they haven't, they'll be feeling very, very disappointed in themselves. You'd have to say it's 2 points dropped from Spurs, and you'd have to say bloody good effort by Leicester to stay in the game. Interesting, though. 14 shots for Spurs, 7 on target to Leicester's 3. You don't want to know how many corners you've had. 13 to Leicester's 2. 70% possession. Look, maybe Leicester deserves something out of this, but Spurs will be very, very disappointed. Hi, Mark. I was hoping to hear your thoughts about the Poch hire for the US men's team, Pochettino hire for the US men's team. There's a lot of excitement about it here. Thanks for the show. Sully, I'd be very excited if I was American. I thought you were, I mean, I don't know what the evolution of the American team is for the World Cup. I thought you were, obviously you were in England's group in the last World Cup, and I thought that you looked quite good. So I don't know whether that team's going to get any worse or any better, but with Pochettino in charge, if you've got something to build on from the last World Cup, you know, it's a good move. He's a very good coach for. I mean, look, he's better than Southgate, so you've got a better coach than England. Gundogan back to City. It looks like, says Tom. Good move for City. Kal-El says, hello from Miami, Mark. Would you take Van der Ven for United? Yes. I mean, I'd take that. I mean, if you're asking me, would I take Van der Ven? Yeah. I mean, he's a good centre-back, so yeah. What happens when gambling sponsors are banned in 2026? Some clubs are really going to struggle. Player fire sale, says Galahad. I think, like, mate, look, what happened to Formula One cars when smoking cigarettes sponsors were stopped? There's always somebody else with money. They said that would be the end of F1, and it wasn't. I mean, I remember the McLaren car was like the Marlboro car, wasn't it? Rothmans, was it, on William Hill? So, Jonathan Rose says, Ange is always getting criticised on Talk Shit. They've got 24 hours to fill, mate. If Leicester City draws, they've won the game, says Moriaki. Someone should get me on a really good podcast and ask me a few questions about how that company's run. Be a good one. Oh, no. Benson and Hedges with Schumacher, says Kevin Carter. Yes. Wasn't there a gold car? Ref should have played on there. If Leicester draws, they've won this game, says Moriaki. I don't think Ferrari had a smoking sponsor, did they? Look, the way the world's going, we're all entitled to an opinion as long as it's legal. You know what? There was a funny comment on. There was a funny comment on the. I sent it to Will actually on the podcast. There was a really funny comment today. It was, Mark, if you and the missus ever get invited by the PGMOL to have an open top car drive around Dallas, don't do it. If you know, you know. And I was just like, but you know what? We are allowed to have an opinion, and until they say we can't. And I don't do politics and I don't do stuff like that, but I think the world is a funny place sometimes, and it won't. I wouldn't be surprised if you can't. You know, I can't believe you can't have a bloody Mars bar advert on the TV anymore because it might be supporting child obesity. I mean, am I fat? I grew up with adverts for chocolate bars and fizzy drinks and cigarettes and everything, and yet you can't have an advert for a bag of crisps or a chocolate bar anymore. And I think it's too far. But football will always be watched, and what will happen is if you don't have gambling companies, you'll have very successful car companies or insurance companies or I don't know, fancy water companies. There'll always be people wanting to sponsor football, so it won't be the end. Anyway, the game is finished. Need a Solanke goal for FPL. Hughes lad, yeah, I've had a bloody nightmare. I think I might need to use my wild card after week 1. Yeah, it's been a bloody nightmare. But that's a terrible result for Spurs, really. I mean, it's not terrible because they didn't lose, but you know, that's a good result for United, Chelsea, Newcastle, Villa, because we're all in the race for 4th place. And you'd look at that game and say, you'd expect Spurs to have started that with a win, and it's 2 points dropped in the race for top 4 already by Spurs. So, you know, they should have won the game. They'll know they should have won the game. But credit to Leicester, they stayed in the game. And actually, at 1-1, they had the best chance in the last half an hour with Vardy again. So that's a lesson to the teams in the bottom half, isn't it? If you stay in the game, you've got a chance. And they stayed in the game. Simon says, a Mars a day helps you work, rest and play. That used to be the advert, which to be fair, was false advertising. But yeah. Thanks, everybody, for watching. Apparently, I've missed Jasper's super chat. I didn't, Jasper. I did it ages ago. Oh, no, you did another one. I bet Ange won't get same hate as Eric, and Eric won, says Jasper. Oh, no, he does get a bit of shit, Ange, to be fair. On Talks shit, he does. But thank you very much. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Make sure you subscribe, bottom right-hand corner. You can get the book there. Go and order it now. That would be absolutely fantastic. And make sure you've got your notifications on and you've subscribed, because tomorrow got a cracking video coming out on Arsenal that I think everybody will like. Take care, everyone. Back on the United Stand at 10 o'clock tomorrow morning as well. And I will speak to you all later. Legends, speak to you in a bit. Loved that show tonight. Hope you did as well.